another lesson from 2023, which is more of a skill than a lesson. I learned how to create an experience of bliss within myself, completely generated from me, based on me and no one and nothing else. So I immediately think of, like, when I'm in that state and I'm in pure bliss, right? Like, just, I feel like Matilda dancing around the room with the things flying around her. You know, I feel like Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music at the top of the mountain, like dancing around, singing at the top of the mountain. Like those moments of just pure bliss and ecstasy that don't involve anyone else. It's just the person experiencing themselves in the fullness and richness and beauty of themselves, and it just being everything you could possibly want in that moment. So I find myself occasionally feeling numb. Like, not numb. Numb is not the right word. Feeling flat. That's the correct word. It's not an emotional high. It's not an emotional low. It's just flat. And I spend a lot of time in that energy, actually. And so sometimes I'm like, man, like I miss the invigoration of that feeling of bliss, right? You know, I think that's the feeling that drives people to choose a vice. They want to feel invigorated, right? So you drink a cup of coffee, or you smoke a cigarette, or you smoke some weed, or you go do thrill-seeking activities, or you go out to eat, or whatever it is, right? So for me, when I have that inclination towards wanting that invigoration of life, I go into a complete, like, self-honoring. I buy myself flowers. I love food and I love to cook, so I will go to the store and, like, buy the ingredients to make myself the most delicious food I could think of in the moment. Something super satisfying and indulgent. And that doesn't always mean unhealthy. It's just indulgent because it's so many layers of things that I would enjoy. And I pick the music that just is gonna light up my soul, and I have my headphones on, which just takes me into another space almost immediately. And I, you know, depending on the weather and depending on time of year, like, I will either go sit out in the sunshine, or I will sit under the stars, or, like, I just fill my day or my time, whatever time I have, even if it's just a few hours, like I fill that few hours with every possible layer of sensual experience I can think of and that I have access to. And I'm talking everything. So, like, sound, taste, smell, touch, what's the other one? Hearing. And then spiritually, the energy aspect of it. Like, I tune in, I tap in, I light my candles, you know, I feel immense connection to myself, and I feel in deep honor and reverence of myself, and it brings out this immense joy and feeling of gratitude that just, like, takes over my whole body, and it just starts pouring out of me. And on that, I usually will, like, text my friends, like, I love you so much, I'm so grateful to have you in my life. It's like those moments where like, I just can't help, like, I will be moved to tears sometimes. It's so strong, and then it just feels so good. It is like the most natural high I could ever think of. It's so much better than any high I've ever experienced in my life, and any substances. It didn't require, there's like no negative, there's no downsides. There's no after effects, there's no side effects, there's no withdrawals, there's no crashes, there's none of that. It is just pure bliss. Pure bliss. And it's so fucking satisfying, and it's so fulfilling, and it is just like, so, you know, when you talk about like creating relationships and connections with people and things like that, it's like when you're able to create pure bliss for yourself, that other person, like, they gotta be up here in order to even meet you in that experience, to be able to join you in that experience, to be able to create that experience for you. Like, just when you're able, when you are your own natural high, like, they got, whoo, it almost immediately raises the bar. Like, you can't not, at that point, once you experience your own bliss, you can't, like, how do you look at someone and say, if you're not able to do this or join me in this, how are we gonna vibe? Like, really, how are we gonna vibe? Because I'm good. Like, I'm good. I've got me. I would love to share that with someone else, and I am actually, my wife and I, we do this independently and together. But I'm telling you, it resets the standard. It raises the bar almost instantly and gives you a better, more honed perspective on potential partners. It creates a sharper lens, for sure. So that was the other lesson.